Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Wednesday, July the 19th, 2023. Wednesday, July the 19th. Let's see what's going on in Young and the Restless land. Well, Summer catches Kyle down the stairs. She's coming down the stairs. Kyle is talking to Audra. Audra's dressed for work. And to me, I'm sorry, not executive caliber. She was more executive caliber to me when she was working under somebody. But anyway, um, so they're talking, and she goes, "You ready for this?" Is Audra ready for your first day of work? And he goes, "Yeah, after celebrating last night, yes, I am ready." And so she goes, "Well, good, because there's a pile of files that she put on his desk." And he's like, he's ready. And I'm looking at Kyle and I'm like, okay, is your tie rolled up in your pocket? Because he's going to an executive position and he's not even wearing a tie. I hope he doesn't walk in the office looking like that, right? So anyway, Victoria, Summer comes downstairs and she sees the two talking. And so she goes, "Kyle, can we talk for a minute?" And he goes, "Now's not a good time. I'm getting ready to go to work." And so Audra says, "Well, you two, you two can talk. I'm going to go ahead and head to the office." And then she leans into Kyle. "Don't be late." And Summer just looks. So they go sit down, and Kyle's whole posture, he's like, and she goes, Summer's like, "Kyle, I'm just trying to see, can we talk? Is there any way we can kind of get some common ground to see if we can repair, what we have, if we can build our relationship again?" And he's like, "I don't see how that's going to happen now. And so finally, Summer says, "You know what? Then I want a straight answer from you." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." She goes, "I want a straight answer for you. Have you been with someone? Have you slept with someone?" And he's like, "I don't see why." He goes, "Summer, you know what? I'm late for work. I'm getting ready to go." So she stood up and she said, "Why don't you just tell me the truth?" And all her voice is raised. "Kyle, have you slept with Audra?" Right? Point blank. And he looks at her and he goes, "Yes, I have." And Summer was shocked at the honest answer and the non-apologetically honest answer, right? So she's just like, "Okay, at least I know the truth. At least I know there's no way of repairing what we have." And he goes, "Goodbye, Summer." And he walks away. Well, or he's getting ready to walk away. She looks at him and she smacks him across his face, right? And she walks away first. And I thought, okay, now you know. So while this is going on at society, Phyllis is meeting Daniel, and I was shocked. I said, "Wait a minute, you just got arrested yesterday. What are you doing glammed up walking in society?" I was in shock, right? Diane got arrested on circumstantial evidence. Phyllis, they know she did some stuff. They just don't know how much. And she got out on bail. Doggone it, Michael Baldwin needs to stay away because Heather, whatever Heather's last name is, Heather, whatever. I don't know what Heather goes by. Heather is just, oh my God. She's great, obviously. Okay, and obviously Christine had no choice because Christine never would have agreed for Phyllis to be on bail. And I'm looking at her leg, and I'm like, and no ankle monitor for one. If she had an ankle monitor, she couldn't have been in public like that, right? So the people in the restaurant are giving her the evil eye, just looking at her, and she's like, what? And these two ladies are at this table on the way to the table where Daniel's at. And then there's this man in there kind of walking by her, and he gives her the evil eye as he walks by, and the two ladies are looking at her. So she bends down at them and she leans in like, yeah, it's me, it's me. As she walks by. That is so Phyllis. I had a picture of it, but I don't know what happened to that picture. And didn't want to take time to go back and snip it again from the show. So she sits next to Daniel. And at first she's sitting there, she's kind of cowering. She goes, everybody's looking at me. This is a little, it's like the perp walk. And I'm feeling, I forget what she said, like not guilty, but anxious, or I forget what she said. And he goes, since when do you care what other people think about you? And she goes, well, I don't care what other people think about me, but I mean, just walking in here and all eyes were on me like that, it made me, feel a little subconscious or whatever she says to him. And so they're talking, and Daniel is like trying to, how Daniel is. He always wants to know what's her angle, what's she doing, what's the real deal, so he could go and tell somebody. Because see, that's really what it is. It would never ever stay with Daniel, and Phyllis knows that. So Phyllis says, I feel vindicated, or I will be vindicated, but I have to make amends. And I forget what she was saying. Amends and something else. I forget the other word. And he goes, amends to who? And she goes, to you. Or I feel justified. I gotta, justify my actions, but I need to make amends. And I can't justify and make amends at the same time. And that's where he said, amends to who? And he goes, to you, Daniel. Amends to you. I have to make up for what I did to you, for what I put you through. And he looked at her like, wow. Okay. She goes, and I have to make amends to your sister, because she's lost the most. And then I have to make amends to Jack and Kyle. And then she mumbled, and Diane. So that when she said Diane, Daniel looked and he kind of leaned in. He goes, okay, mom, it's just me and you here. You could stop the act. And she looked at him. She goes, it's not an act, Daniel. It's not an act at all. And he just looked at her like, okay, And so she said something to him, and he says, I know you. I know you. She goes, yes, you do. You know me because you and I, we're like this. We know each other. And she's thinking, that's why I didn't come to you and tell you I was alive, because I know you and I knew what you would do, right? So then Tucker is there. No, Tucker's not there yet. Summer comes in. Tucker actually might just be there already, sitting, watching Phyllis and Daniel. Because I kind of even think Phyllis, when Tucker came in, she glanced at him, and he's looking at her, and he sits down, and Daniel's looking like, what's going on here? And he asked her, he goes, wait a minute, what's happening between you and that man? She goes, what do you mean what's happening? Nothing's happening. She goes, no. He goes, there's something. I can't pinpoint what it is. She goes, nothing, Daniel. There's nothing going on. So he's just looking. And then Summer comes in looking completely distraught. Okay, completely distraught. And Phyllis hugs her. You're here, baby girl. So she hugs her. And the bartender's giving Phyllis the evil eye too, which was so crazy. You working there, man. Come on now. Just looking at her every time she said something. So she goes, what's the matter, Summer? Something's wrong. Summer's like, nothing. You can see, oh my God, my whole world just crumbled, nothing. And so she goes, I can see it's something. And Daniel's like, yeah. And so she goes, is it Kyle? Did Kyle say something about me? And she's like, no, no, just leave it alone. No, he didn't say nothing about you. And so she goes, okay, okay. She goes, we have to talk about, what's next. Our families together, good. This is summer. Our families together, or we're together as a family. What's next? So Phyllis was saying that, okay, the trial has to go through and the charges have to be dropped. Oh, but before Summer got there, Phyllis tells Daniel, yeah, Christine, she wants to put her away. And so Daniel said, you're walking free. Yeah, but they made me surrender my passport. As if I would leave the country. And Daniel said, you would. He goes, you've already evaded the police. So she goes, but I'm not leaving now. That was so funny. He's like, but you would, because you have, so is any reason they even let you out on bail? So then anyway, she's talking to Summer, they're talking to each other, and Summer, she snaps at her mother because Phyllis says something to Summer, and you could clearly see this girl is really having some problems. And so Phyllis says something, and Summer's like, yeah, unlike letting your kids believe you're dead. And Phyllis looked, and Daniel looked like, ooh. And Summer's like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it. Oh, because she says something to Summer. She's like, or what? Or what are you going to do? Are you going to let us believe you're dead again? Oh. And so Phyllis just looks, and Summer says, I'm so sorry. I know, you know what? She looked at her phone, or pretended to look at her phone. She goes, I got to go. I'm late for work. I got to go. And so she gets up and she dashes out of society. And so Daniel said, she didn't mean what she said. She goes, I know she didn't. So Daniel says, but you know what? I'm going to be late for work. I have to go. And so she goes, well, I'm going to finish my coffee or my tea, whatever she's drinking. And he goes, I could wait here till you're done. She goes, no, go ahead, Daniel. Don't be late. Go ahead. So he leaves, and then she goes over to the table with Stark, right? And she is talking to Stark. I mean, not Stark, goodness gracious, Tucker McCall. So Sharon is talking to Adam, because Adam came early to find her. So did you think about what I said? Are we going to do this? We could work together, and we could, we together we could something like burn Newman to the ground, or something to that effect, right? And so Sharon says, Adam, that's not going to work. That's not going to happen. And he's like, what do you mean? She says, I'm not about to let you use my new company as a weapon so that you could try to sledgehammer Newman. I'm not going to do that. I'm seeing this company as an opportunity to make a difference, not a weapon for your use. Well, you could have told me that by text. You didn't have to, summon me, because she was summoning him over to talk to him, to tell him in person. And no, And so she goes, because I wanted to talk to you, Adam. This is an opportunity. Because he goes, oh, so you're on their side? She goes, no, I happen to think Victor's idea has merit, Adam. Like I said, you're on their side. And he said, see, Sharon said, see, this is what you do. When things don't go 100% your way, you take it as a personal indictment against you, and you go off on this path of vengeance. You're so predictable. Well, you do know that, Victor and Victoria ultimately are going to be in control of your company. They're going to have say-so over your company. You're going to fall under the Newman umbrella. She goes, and there is nothing wrong with that. She goes, I don't see that as a bad thing, Adam. I see it as a good thing. And right now, this is an opportunity for us to take two failing companies and turn it around. Make something good, become powerhouses. And then they will just leave us alone because we're doing well. And I'm thinking, well, that's wishful thinking, especially with Victoria in the mix. But anyway, right? So Adam says, well, she goes, just think about it, Adam. And so he stands up, and Chance actually comes in with that smile, like, I know what we did last night, that kind of smile. She had that green, hey, Chance, like, I know what we did too last night. So Adam looks at the two of them, and he gets up and he leaves. So we have Victor talking to Victoria and Nick at the house the next morning. And then at the next morning, he's like, Nick again has to affirm, that yes, no. Victoria stands up first to kiss her father's behind. But Victor says, okay, what decisions have you two made? And so Nick says, well, you know what, Dad, I think it's a little too soon. We probably need a little more time to make a decision. And Victoria says, I don't. And she stands up in front of her daddy. See, she loves to play the little girl when she wants to get something from daddy. She says, I'm accepting. I accept it. I have no reservations. So Nicholas C goes, very good, Victor says. And Nicholas says, well, can I say something? And he goes, yes, you can. He says, see, last night, you took my job away from me and you gave it to Nate Hastings. And I've got some reservations on that. And Victoria said, here we go again. You bringing up that again? And so he goes, so Nick looks at Victor and he goes, but you know what? I know my opinion doesn't matter around here. And so Victor said, yes, it does. What's your opinion? So he goes, I don't trust Nate, his usual blah, blah, blah. And Victor says, and you know what? I share your concerns, as he's looking at Victoria. And she's just looking. He says, however, Nate Hastings is doing a good job right now. And I need you over at Augustus. And so he says, so what do you say? He goes, but, so Victoria says something else. And then she goes, well, another perk is, of course, because Nick says, of course you have nothing against it. You get everything you want out the deal. That's what Nick tells Victoria. And she goes, yeah. And I also get the extra added benefit of knocking Adam, or this knocks Adam down a couple pegs. And she's kind of gloating. And Victor said, this does not knock your brother down a peg at all or two. And he goes, let me make sure you understand something. I run both of these companies. And Victoria's standing there and she's holding her hands together. He goes, I will not tolerate any kind of infighting, plotting. And she just looks at him. I'm just saying, Adam is a selfish, spoiled, she's a brat. And I'm thinking, no, Victoria, that's you, right? And every time you hand him a shiny new company to play with, and something always, he goes, Victoria, I have had enough. And so she goes, he says, what do you tell her? I have had enough. And I'm changing the whole dynamics of this. And so she goes, like, okay. So then he talks back to Nicholas. Nicholas says, but my problem is, Dad, you want me to go and work with Adam, really babysit Adam, but work with Adam to help him turn a company around. How am I supposed to do that? He's angry. He's upset. He got up yesterday and he just left. How am I supposed to make it work? And Victor said, I have every faith in you. You can get it done. You could go get it done. And Victoria says, I think it's a good thing that Nicholas go work over there with Adam. I think that's a good thing. And Nicholas just looks at her. And Victor told Nicholas, son, I have faith in you. And I have faith that you can do this. Adam is upset now, but he will cool down. He will. So Nicholas says, all right, Dad, all right. So Nicholas says, I got to go. So Victoria was drinking some water, and as soon as Nicholas says, I got to go, she rushed over to where her purse was, puts that water glass down. She was going to rush right after behind Nicholas. And Victor said, my darling, no, you stay. And she's like, oh, no. And she goes, are you upset with me, Daddy? Oh, see, don't pretend. That stuff isn't just handed to you, Victoria. Handed to you. And so he says, because he had told her when Nicholas was there, had you bought McCall Unlimited, like I said, this all would not be happening. But you had your own agenda. Now I'm making everything right. And I'm doing it the way I want it done. And so then she goes, but Daddy, you handed me the company for a reason. I'm just like you, Daddy. See, that always works. I'm just like my daddy, my dadums, right? And he smiled at her and he goes, yes, you are, baby. And he gives her a hug. But while he was watching her, what was so interesting, I was watching Victor's his expression on his face as he's looking at Victoria. What Victoria doesn't understand, everybody, is Victoria is being tested. And she's going to fail miserably. Her and Nate, because what Victoria is going to do is she is going to try to undermine what Adam and Nick and Sharon are doing with Augustus. See, she's not going to have enough, because Victor, it's not under the Newman umbrella. Victor said once it's profitable, he was going to put it under the Newman umbrella. But Victoria and Nate, they're going to say, you know what? We're going to make sure that company doesn't ever become profitable, because Adam doesn't deserve the credit. Watch. Victoria is going to get herself into so much trouble, and I can't wait. I can't wait. And I think Victor, he's just watching her. He's got her number, right? And he really has Nate's number, absolutely, positively. So now we have Nick runs into Adam at the park. And of course, Adam was turning and walking away. He goes, Adam, come, wait, don't leave. Let's talk. So he talks to Adam. He calms him down a bit and he tells Adam, he goes, look, you know what? You could do what you normally do. And you could try to fight the old man. You could fight. He goes, because I'm not happy with the way this has turned out. He said, but you know what? It's better to get the job done. He said, because I know I could get the job done, than to try to fight Victor. He said, than to try to fight Dad. He says, so look, we can do this together. Let's get the job done. Let's turn these two companies around and we'll show what we made of. So Adam, he turns around and he's like, well, I'll be. And so Nicholas says, see, there's that sigh of acceptance, right? So Adam turned around. He goes, so you, me, and Sharon, we're all supposed to work together. And Nick says, yes, turning two failed companies around. Are you turning two failed companies around? So Adam looked at him, and Adam was the first one who extended his hand. And Nick shook his hand because Adam's like, whatever. See, he already ran to Sharon, and Sharon already shut him down. So whatever. Adam's like, yeah, okay, I'm in. So now we're going to see that chapter. To me, it might be a little interesting. It honestly, to see the dynamic, and because see, Nate hasn't gotten his, and neither has Victoria. She hasn't gotten hers either. So I'm looking forward to seeing something happen here. And I'm hoping, sorry about that. I'm hoping it's all going to not just fall in Victoria's way, in her favor. So let's look at Comment Corner. Comment Corner, a couple comments. Sheila says she stopped watching B&B. Bold and the Beautiful wants Hope and Thomas kissed at Paris. It's the same. He says, I can't take the same old nonsense with them. Thomas should have stuck to his guns and never gave in to Hope. The writers have gotten lazy. And LaShanta says, I've been over Daniel. My thing is, if you talk to Summer but Lily, okay, I don't quite get that statement. Phyllis is in a bind. Chris wants Phyllis so bad she could taste her. I hate Tucker and Ashley holding Phyllis's freedom over her head. I can't stand Kyle. She smelled perfume. He's gonna fall hard. I can't wait. Kyle's being disrespectful, and Diane too, a real brat. Jack's gonna be mad or on fire when he finds out about Kyle's job. I know that he's working for Newman. Summer smelled Audra's perfume. Yes, she did. She smelled Audra's perfume on Kyle. But that's it. That's it, everybody, for Wednesday's daily recap of The Young and the Restless.